Good morning. Tom Platt. I'm Linwood Bailey's warm-up act. So when a nurse put our oldest son David in my arms, something happened, something profound and life-altering. I was, in that instant, in love. 3 years later, the same thing happened when his brother Reed was born. My heart skipped a beat. And that same ancient neural pathway was activated. I was in awe, terrified, and deeply and profoundly in love. I should note that this is the only time that I believe in love at first sight. The feeling of love you experienced when your child was first put into your arms may wax and wane over the years, but it's almost impossible to extinguish. It dips when they learn the word no as a toddler, and it goes lower still when they scream, "I hate you," as a teenager. But it soars when they're a bit older and a bit wiser and finally admit you weren't always wrong, just mostly. My own path to fatherhood, either through ignorance or arrogance, was unquestioned. I knew I was going to be a father. Many of you are familiar with the old childhood chant, first comes love, then comes marriage, then comes baby and the baby carriage. Well, I was, and I still am, in love with Kathy. We were married in 1973, and the baby in the baby carriage seemed inevitable, at least to me. In hindsight, I describe fatherhood as a trade, something learned from experience. I did some reading and read some books on parenting, but I found them confusing and contradictory. I learned to be a father by being a son, an apprenticeship of sorts, and then by trial and error. What kind of father would I be? I knew I would do things differently from my father. I knew my dad loved me and my brothers. Still, typical of the era, which was the mid-1950s, expressions of affection declined as we aged. He was minimally involved in our extracurricular activities because he worked a lot. I thought I could do better and vowed to change that dynamic. I fed and bathed them, changed diapers, read to them, sang them to sleep. I hugged my children often, even when it was embarrassing for them. I rarely missed a performance or sporting event. I like to think I was a good role model, and I was there when they needed me. So how did I do? Well, I think okay. On a 10-point scale, maybe a 7.5, certainly no higher than an 8. But that's not for me to judge. You'd have to ask David and Reed. Grandparenting is a whole lot easier. The love at first sight thing is still there, but not in quite the same way, simply because the ultimate responsibility is not yours. And you know you can send them back to their parents when they really, really annoy you. But there's the rub. I have done many of the same things with my grandchildren as I did with my children, but I don't make the rules. I have to know what they are and do my best not to contradict their dad. I am certain Reed looked back on our relationship and thought, I can do better. I would be disappointed if he hadn't. From the outside looking in, he is succeeding. I think Reed and his wife Abby are wonderful parents, and some of you know our grandkids. Max and Ethan attend church school when they spend Saturday night with us. They're good kids most of the time. Reed and Abby and all parents today face challenges that Kathy and I could never have contemplated. When our kids were in their formative years, our biggest concerns were the influence of video games, MTV, and The Simpsons. How quaint. And now, start with COVID. Nothing like a worldwide pandemic to strain relationships and make a difficult job an order of magnitude harder. Add to that cell phones, the internet, the evil that is social media, and now artificial intelligence. Heaven help them. It's almost enough to make a father think about Merle Haggard's song, "Take this job and shove it." But fathers can't do that, at least not the good ones. And I really hope that's most of them. the ones trying to do right by their kids, doing their best to teach them to be thoughtful, responsible, and kind. No matter how old you are, the love that bloomed that first time you held them is still there. You never stop being a father. Thank you.
Well, good morning. My name is Linwood Bailey, and I come to you to speak as a father, grandfather, uncle, a mentor to several young children and young men, and my neighborhood's grandfather. You know, in life, two things we leave behind: our reputations and our children. As fathers, we provide the blueprint for our sons in terms of what kind of fathers they're going to be. My mother and father divorced when I was real young. I was 4 years old. And we returned from our life in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to my grandparents' home. About a year before my mother passed, we sat and talked. And she told me, I have two older sisters, and then there's me. And she said to me, I never worried about you when your father and I divorced. I was concerned about the girls. And I said, Ma, why would you say that? She said, because I made a decision. I was going to turn you over to your grandfather because he was such a good father. And my grandfather, watching him and growing up, he gave me the blueprint for what it means to be a father. I'm a bit old-fashioned. Instead of the Happy Father's Day text messages or Facebook postings, I still send letters and cards. And every year I send a letter to my son, who lives in California, and he's the father of two children. And I commend him on the father that he has become. He's a great father. And he told me, Dad, I'm a great father because I do what you did. You know, as fathers, we provide the blueprint for our sons in terms of a blueprint for being a father, for them to either accept or reject. And I can see in so many men that I've seen over the years, and friends and colleagues, about the experiences, good and bad, and how they influence them in terms of they acted as fathers and husbands. For girls, you as a father and the way you carry yourself will set the standards for your girls in terms of what they will look for in a husband and their significant others. Fatherhood is a great responsibility, but one I extremely love. You know, when we look back and people, when that day comes, when we have what I call, my friend and I, a good friend of mine call, when we have that appointment on our calendar that says that we will be no more. One of the things, if you're a father, they're going to look back and then people are going to say, what kind of father was he? Today is Father's Day. a great day, because everybody will be telling me, Happy Father's Day. I'll get a nice dinner. I'll get some phone calls. I'll get some messages. But I also want us all to remember that Father's Day is only one day out of the year. If you're going to be a good father, you got to do it 365 days a week. Thank you.